This regarding the unfair labor practices by sukari industries in Homa Bay County. I, the undersigned, on behalf of the workers of Sukari Industry Limited in Homa Bay County, draw the attention of the House to the following. 1. That on 8th February 2024, workers of Sukari Industry Limited in their constituency staged a protest against discrimination, unfair labor practices, and unfavorable working conditions imposed by the employer, which violate Article 27 of the Constitution. 2. That while some of the workers are directly employed by the company, a majority of them are engaged through outsourced firms. This has resulted in significant disparities in employment terms, benefits, compensation, and other entitlements. 3. That there is alleged discrimination between foreign and local workers, including differences in pay for equal work, separate meetings for the different groups, unfair allocation of field and airtime allowances, and the withdrawal of salary advances, overtime, and lunch allowances. 4. That the workers employed through outsourcing firms are not provided with personal protective equipment, PPEs, and lack any policy for compensation in case of work-related injuries or fatalities. Additionally, ambulance services are not available and often unreliable during emergencies. 5, that the company's management is largely unapproachable, particularly to the local workers, and often terminates their employment arbitrarily without due process. Furthermore, workers are prohibited from joining or forming a labor unions. 6, that tractor drivers do not have formal contracts with the company, and their salaries and other payments are made through mobile money transfers instead of structured payroll system. 7, since October 23, contractual workers' contributions to the National Social Security Fund, NSSF, have been halted, and service gratuity is not provided. 8, that all efforts to address these concerns through dialogue and engagement have been unsuccessful. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, that the issues raised in this petition are not pending before any tribunal, court of law, or any constitutional or legal body. Therefore, your humble petitioners pray that the National Assembly, through the Public Petitions Committee, 1, inquires into the alleged discrimination, unfavorable working conditions, and unfair treatment of both outsourced and directly employed workers, whether local or foreign. 2, recommends that Sukari Industry Limited allow its workers, including those hired through outsourcing firms, to join or form labor unions to safeguard their rights, particularly their right for remuneration and reasonable working condition, as guaranteed under Article 41 of the Constitution. 3, makes any other recommendation that it may deem appropriate to address the grievances of the petitioners. And your petitioners will ever pray, this presented by Honorable Martin Peters Owino, Member of Parliament from their constituency. Now, Mr. Speaker, if I just add one statement, I, as the area member of Parliament, have tried with top management to no solutions.
You should have included that in the petition.
Thank you. I hope the petition committee will take this very seriously.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Sunguli.
if I may joyride, Mr. Speaker, on this, and ask the committee to really look into these sukari industries. I know that those of us with industries on sugar in our constituencies would like to see this thing investigated generally for our industries. But sukari is an industry that seems to be encroaching even onto our own sugar in Transmara. You know, the sugarcane industry also helps us to do the roads. But if our sugarcane is poached by another industry that does not help us, this is not very, very good. We want that in addition to the bad HR habits that sukari industry has, that this should also be investigated in the manner that it does not poach sugarcane from our Transmara industries, because it's making our industry run out of cane.
Mama Zamzam, you want to joyride on this?
Mheshimiwa Spika, nikiweza kumuunga ndugu yangu Mheshimiwa Moses mkono, Mheshimiwa Martin, ningependa kusema hivi Mheshimiwa Spika. Vile wanavyofanya hawa wafanyikazi wa sukari industries Mheshimiwa Spika, imekuwa ni dhahiri kuwa Wakenya wengi ambao wanafanya katika hizi industries wanadhalilishwa sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Ukiangalia hata kuingia katika union, na hata hii imefanyika hata Mombasa katika makampuni kule EPZ tulikuwa na hizi case Mheshimiwa Spika. Wafanyikazi wakitaka kuingia union wanakatazwa kwa sababu ile ndio sehemu peke yake ambayo wanaweza kutatuliwa matatizo yake. Mshahara uko duni kabisa, sio kulingana na sheria ya leba vile ilivyo Mheshimiwa Spika. Na pia hawapewi zile gear za matasemaje, zile nguo za kuvaa za kuweza kuwalinda kutokana na hatari zilizoko kazini Mheshimiwa Spika. Wengine kama ulivyosikia pia wanalipwa na M-Pesa. Sasa mtu anajiuliza hatima yake iko wapi? Mtu akipata matatizo makubwa anashindwa anaweza kusaidika namna gani? Hana union. NSSF pia naona pia walitolewa hawalipi ile ada ya NSSF. Kwa hiyo mimi naona hawa wafanyikazi hata kama walienda maandamano wamedhulumika sana na wanastahili wapate haki katika bunge hili, na hasa kamiti ambayo inahusika na masala haya muangalie kwa kina, muhakikishe kuwa wafanyikazi wa Kenya wanaangaliwa vizuri, hasa wale ambao wanafanya kazi za mkono wananyanyasika sana. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
The petition is committed to the Committee on Public Petitions. Report back within 60 days. Is the chairman here?
Yes, sir.
Kagezi,
yeah.
Report back in 60 days, within 60 days.
Well received, thanks.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader.
Speaker, Honorable Speaker, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, April 8th, 2025. A, report on performance of the special groups, youth, women, and persons with disability from the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority. B, report of the Auditor General on forensic audit on the Kenya Airports Authority and Adani Airport Holdings Limited, Jomo Kenyatta International Airport Leasing Plan. C, reports of the Auditor General and financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2024 and certificates there in respect of 1. Affordable Housing Board, the 3 months period. 2. Agricultural Information Resource Center Revolving Fund. Athi Water Works Development Agency, Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Gatitu Tea Factory, Kenya Fisheries Services, Kenya Forest Services, Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, Kenya Institute of Mass Communication Car Loan and Mortgage Fund, Kenya Maritime Authority Staff Mortgage and Car Loan Scheme, Kenya National Public Health Institute, Kenya National Trading Corporation, Lapset Corridor Development Authority, Micro and Small Enterprises Authority, Miwani Sugar Company Limited, 1989 in receivership, Mount Elgon Lodge Limited, National Assistance Trust Fund for Victims of Trafficking in Persons, National Police Service Commission Staff Car Loan and Mortgage Scheme Fund, National Police Service, National Syndemic Disease Control Council, Zoya Sugar Company, Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, President's Award Kenya,
Public Trustees of Kenya, Receiver of Revenue Statement, the Judiciary, School Equipment Production Unit, Scrap Metal Council, State Department for Livestock Development, State Department for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, MSMED Development, Sunset Hotel Limited, the Horn of Africa Groundwater for Resilience Project, IDA credit number 70820 KE grant number P 174867 Water Resources Authority, the Senate Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority Staff House and Car Loan Scheme, and lastly, Honorable Speaker, Waterhouse Receipts System Council. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to lay.
Thank you. Chairperson, Committee on National Government Constituencies Development Fund, Sirma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 8th of April, 2025. Report of the Committee on National Government Constituency Development Fund on nominees to the National Government Constituencies Development Fund Committee for 37 constituencies. I beg to lay.
Thank you. Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning, Kimani.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, the 8th of April of 2025. Report on the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning on its consideration of the Excess Duty Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2025. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chairperson, Jailak.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 18th April 2025. Reports of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs on its consideration of, number 1, the Anti-Money Laundering and Combating of Terrorism Financing Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 5 of 2025, and 2, the approval hearing of Honorable Judith Nayai Ramaita Pareno for appointment as Principal Secretary, State Department for Justice, Human Rights and Constitutional Affairs. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I beg to lay.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson, Public Petitions Committee.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motions. Number 1, that this House adopts the report of the Public Petitions Committee on its consideration of a public petition number 41 of 2023 regarding banning of TikTok in Kenya, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 25th September 2024. Number 2, that this House adopts the report of the Public Petitions Committee on its consideration of a public petition number 01 of 2023 regarding poor implementation of the Edu Afya medical scheme in public schools, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 7th December 2023. Number 3, that this House adopts the report of the Public Petitions Committee on its consideration of public petition number 11 of 2022 regarding pollution of River Athi, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 11th April 2024. And lastly, number 4, that this House adopts the reports of the Public Petitions Committee on its consideration of the public petition number 7, 57, 70, 71 of 2023 regarding gazettement of Rachuonyo North, Nyatike West, Nyatike North, and Nyatike South, Chonyi, and Chepalungu, sub-counties or hardship areas, respectively, laid on the table of this House on Tuesday, 11th June, 2024. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move. Thank you.
What are you moving, Kagezi? I thought you were giving notice of motion.
Sorry, Speaker, sir. It's a notice.
Okay. Chairperson Jailak.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion. That taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs in its report on the vetting of a nominee for appointment as Principal Secretary laid on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 8th April 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 155(3)(b) of the Constitution, approves the appointment of Honorable Judith Nayai Ramaita Pareno as the Principal Secretary, State Department for Justice, Human Rights, and Constitutional Affairs. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Morugara. Chairperson, Public Investments Committee on Social Services, Administration, and Agriculture.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the fourth report of the Public Investments Committee on Social Services, Administration, and Agriculture on its consideration of the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the following state corporations laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 17th October 2024. 1. The National Social Security Fund, the year 2019-20. 2. Communication Authority, financial years 17-18 and 18-19. 3. Child Welfare Society of Kenya, financial years 2014-15. 4. Sacco Society Regulatory Authority, financial years 17-18, 18-19, and 19-20. And lastly, Kenya Institute of Public Policy Research and Analysis, financial years 2014-15, 15-16, 16-17, and 17-18. The second motion, Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the report of the Public Investments Committee on Social Services, Administration, and Agriculture on its consideration of the performance audit report for the provision of services to persons with disabilities by the National Council for Persons with Disabilities, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 30th July, 2024. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And the last motion, Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the third report of the Public Investments Committee on Social Services, Administration, and Agriculture on the consideration of the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of the following state corporations laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 30 July 2024. 1. Kenyatta National Hospital, the year 2018-19 and 19-20. Kenya Medical Supplies Authority, the years 2017-18 and 18-19. Kenya Veterinary Board, financial years 2018-19, 19-20, and 2020-21. National Authority for Campaigns Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse, financial years 17-18, 18-19, 19-20, and 2020-21. And lastly, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, financial years 2001, 0102, 0304, 0305, 0304, 0405, 0506, 0607, 0708, 0809, 0910, 2010-11, 011, 2012, and lastly, Honorable Speaker, 2012-2013. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, before we go to statements, I'll direct the reorganization of the order paper so that we go to order number 8. We put the question at order number 8. I will allow the county member for Kajiado to make a statement about a departed colleague. Then we go back to statements. So, Clerk.
Order number 8, motion, ratification of the agreement for the establishment of the Africa Finance Corporation. Question to be put.
Members on their feet, take your seats. Member for Garissa, take your seat. Honorable members, I'll put the question at order number 8, which is that this House adopts the report of the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning on its consideration of the agreement for the establishment of the Africa Finance Corporation laid on the table of the House on Friday, 14th March 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 8(4) of the Treaty Making and Ratification Act, Cap 4D, approves the ratification of the establishment of the Africa Finance Corporation. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
We'll start with Sangaire.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a statement on the passing on of Honorable Janet Maranya-Teya. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 259D-2, I rise to pay tribute to the former Kajiado County Women Representative, the late Honorable Janet Maranya-Teya. Honorable Speaker, the late Honorable Janet Teya passed on Monday, 7th April 2025. The late Teya was born on 28th September 1980 in Ilkilorit in Kajiado County. She began her education in Africa Inland Church Kajiado School in 1987 and sat for her Kenya Certificate of Primary Education in 1995. She later joined the Nomatasiani Secondary School and completed her Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education in 1999. She proceeded to pursue a certificate in accountancy technician in 2022 at the Masai Technical Training Institute. Noting that she lost her ability to walk at the age of 5, she bravely surmounted the obstacles that hinder persons living with disabilities, becoming a role model to many in her community. The late Honorable Teya built on her success by working up on uplifting the status of women and people with disabilities upon graduation. Honorable Speaker, the late Honorable Janet Teya joined politics upon nomination by the National Alliance Party, TNA, to represent the interests of those with disabilities in the House during the 11th Parliament. She bet all odds and she was elected as the women representative for Kajiado County in 2017. During her tenure in the 12th Parliament, she dedicatedly served in the Departmental Committee on Labor and the Committee on Regional Integration. The late Honorable Teya brimmed the epitome of resilience and advocated for persons with disabilities in the county and specifically in Kajiado County. After exiting politics, the late Honorable Teya joined the National Government Constituency Development Fund as a board manager, where she served until her untimely death. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of Kajiado County and the women leadership of this House, I extend our deepest condolences to the family of the late Honorable Janet Teya, the people of Kajiado County, and the nation at large. I pray that the soul of our departed colleague rests in eternal peace. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Sangaire. Musa Sirma. Give Musa Sirma the mic.
Mr. Speaker, I join the Honorable Member for Kajiado in condoling of the passing of Janet Teya, who was a member of the National Constituency Development Fund Board. Mr. Speaker, Janet Teya appeared before our committee to vet her during her appointment by the Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, Teya was a very hardworking lady who did all what she could do to make sure that she attended all meetings and functions of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Board. We've met in several meetings, and she has been she had a lot of passion in serving that committee, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, on behalf of my committee, I wish to pass our sincere condolence to the family of Janet Teya. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Dorothy.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I too would wish to join my chair, Honorable Leah, and the entire county of Kajiado for the loss of this great lady. Mr. Speaker, it is important to note that this is a lady who deferred all horns to do what she could do despite the condition that she lived with. This is a great encouragement to show that disability is not inability, Honorable Speaker. And I want to say pole sana to the family, and may God give them solace during this very difficult time as they mourn their loved ones. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Bukose.
Honorable Speaker.
A minute each, because I can say a few.
Honorable Speaker, I want to join my colleagues in mourning the passing away of Honorable Teya. Teya was nominated as a member of parliament in the 11th parliament, and in the 12th parliament, she was elected as the women member of parliament for Kajiado. Very hardworking, humble lady. She used to sit at the back there. And Honorable Speaker, may her soul rest in eternal peace.
Donya.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. From Kisii County, I also rise to send my message of condolence to Kajiado County. In most cases, Mr. Speaker, when people do the introductions and one says, this is my third term as nominated, it doesn't sync well with our ears. Because if you go through the history of Honorable Janet, she was only nominated once, and then the second time, she decided to fight for an elective seat. That's good news from what we are reading, and we tell the entire Kajiado County through a representation of Honorable Leah that may God be with the family and the entire county of Kajiado. Thank you.
Milemba.
Well, thank you, Honorable Speaker. On behalf of myself and the people of Emuhaya and the Labour Committee of the 12th Parliament, I want to actually convey my condolences to the family of the Honorable Teya. Teya and I and others, Koyode, worked in the Labour Committee for 5 years during the 12th Parliament. And she was so determined, she attended all meetings, despite the challenges she had as a person living with disability. She still attended all the meetings, whether it was in Mombasa or all over the country. I want to pray that God gives the family strength to go through this business as we send her off. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Naomi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to also contribute to this as I send my condolences to the entire Kajiado County, the leadership and the family. On my own behalf, and on behalf of Marsabit County and my family. Honorable Speaker, I interacted with the late Janet Marania in the 12th Parliament. She was so passionate, and especially on matters to do with the people living with disability and the minority. And it is my prayer that the family will be comforted and that her soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Korere.
Thank you, Speaker. I also take this opportunity to condole with the people of Kajiado. Indeed, Teya was a true description of the strength of a woman. Despite her being able differently, Speaker, we were nominated the same time in 2013, and we served for 5 years. And in 2017, she ran in Kajiado and was elected. And Teya had strength. She had, she had the passion to serve the people of Kajiado, and she was just what you could describe as a true powerhouse. May her soul rest in peace, and may perpetual light shine upon her.
Ferdinand.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the chance to say pole to the Kajiado people, because Janet, we were together with her on 12th and the 13th and 14th and the 12th Parliament, and she was a very active member of this House. I just take this opportunity on my own behalf, on the people of Kwanza and Trans Nzoia County, to say pole to the family, and may her soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Janet was a very strong, resilient, and pragmatic leader. Mr. Speaker, Janet was born to a pastoralist family. Mr. Speaker, you understand with the challenges that she faced going to school at that particular time, and later on clearly providing leadership. It's a clear demonstration that disability is not inability. I want to join her family and say Impole, and I hope many ladies from the pastoralist community, led by the chair of the parliamentary women caucus, will clearly emulate what Janet has done and ensure that many of our girls go to school and demonstrate this hidden leadership, God-given leadership. May her soul rest in peace.
Member for Embu County. Daboen.
I have one, actually. Yes.
Give Daboen.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want also to take this opportunity to mourn with the people of Kajiado County for the loss of their loved one. And on behalf of the Embu County community, I want to send my sincere condolences to the family and the entire county of Kajiado. And above all, as we recognize this great lady who, against all odds, was able to make good leadership in terms of what she actually did in the parliament. We are praying as parliament that indeed we may be able to emulate what she used to do and what she was able to achieve. And again, above all, I want to say that disability is not inability. She was able to do great things, and we are able to recognize today. So on my own behalf and on behalf of Embu County, my sincere condolences to the entire Kajiado community. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Women Rep Trans Nzoia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for also giving me this chance to eulogize with my colleagues and the family of Honorable Teya. And I must say that I didn't know her in person, but from what my colleagues have said, I must say that I'm proud of her, because being nominated the first time and you think of going for an elective seat after that, that is an encouragement, and that is what we are looking into any other member of parliament who is nominated to make an effort to vie for those seats, so that we encourage others also to continue competing in these elective seats. With that, Mr. Speaker, I say may her soul rest in peace. Thank you.
Weda.
Asante Bwana Spika. Kwa niaba yangu, familia yangu na watu wangu ninaowakilisha Lamu Mashariki, natoa rambirambi zangu kwa familia ya Mheshimiwa Teya. Mheshimiwa tulikuwa naye bunge la 12 na tulikuwa kwa kamati moja. Alikuwa mtu mzuri. Natoa pole kwa familia na Mungu aiwezeshe kujaza ile pengo ameacha. Asante Bwana Spika.
Makali Mulu.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on my own behalf, on behalf of the good people of Kitui Central, I also want to join my colleagues in sending my sincere condolences to the family of Mheshimiwa and the people of Kajiado County. Honorable Speaker, I served with the Mheshimiwa in the 11th Parliament and the 12th Parliament. In the 11th Parliament as a nominated member of Parliament, and the 2nd Parliament as an elected member of Parliament. And Honorable Speaker, just as colleagues are saying, the commitment which was demonstrated by Mheshimiwa when she was a member here, Honorable Speaker, is not expected of somebody living with disability. But she went out of her way really to show that commitment and serve faithfully the people of Kajiado County. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to encourage those people who are living with disability, Honorable Speaker, to learn that disability is not inability, and they can actually do much more for this country. With those remarks, Honorable Speaker, may our soul rest in eternal peace. Amen.
Thank you, honorable members. We'll end there. Honorable Teya, those who knew her like I did, was the true embodiment of the spirit of the strength of a woman. We campaigned with her, and even with her physical challenge, she was in every single political spot in Kajiado, campaigning with everybody else. Shall we be upstanding to give a minute's silence? May her soul rest in eternal peace. Amen. Before the next, allow me to acknowledge in the public gallery Little Lambs School from Ainabkoi, Uasin Gishu. On your behalf and on my own behalf, we welcome the Little Lambs to the House of Parliament. We go on with the statements. Honorable Kakai Bissau.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 44.2c, I rise to seek for a statement from the Chairperson of Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the disappearance and subsequent death of Ms. Lydia Tokeshi Buhala. Honorable Speaker, on January 7, 2025, Mrs. Lydia Tokeshi Buhala of ID number 3461-3679 was reported missing in Nairobi, only for her body to be found dumped in Gataga Forest in Rongai. On 9 January 2025, a vehicle was discovered abandoned in Riruta with visible bloodstain and vomit inside, raising concerns on the circumstance of her disappearance and subsequent death. This necessitated a forensic analysis of the evidence found in the vehicle in relation to her disappearance and subsequent death. The matter was recorded at Riruta Police Station under OB number 34/07/1/2025. And an initial response made by officers from Kilimani and Kabete police stations. Honorable Speaker, Mrs. Buhala's family is concerned on the timelines and effectiveness of police actions in addressing this distressing case. Additionally, they are concerned by the reports from authorities that Mr. Joseph Philip Orua, who was identified as a person of interest in connection with the disappearance and tragic death of their kin, has been missing from his Nairobi residence. This has raised questions on his whereabouts and whether law enforcement agencies have taken sufficient action to locate and arrest him to assist with the investigations. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. 1, the steps taken by the security agencies on the matter of the disappearance of Ms. Lydia Tokeshi Buhala on 7 January 2025, including actions taken by Kilimani and Kabede police stations to investigate the case. Second, the progress of investigation into the circumstances surrounding Mrs. Buhala's disappearance and abandonment of her vehicle in Ruto with blood stains and vomit inside, and whether forensic analysis was conducted on the scenes. Thirdly, a report on the whereabouts of Mr. Joseph Philip Orua, a person of interest identified by the family of Mrs. Buhala as a key suspect in the matter, and findings of the police on his connection with the disappearance and subsequent death of Mrs. Buhala. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, measures in place to support families of missing persons during investigations, including coordination between different police stations and the role of forensic technology in identifying and tracking movements of potential suspects. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chair, Administration and Internal Security. Kangara, you are holding brief for your chairman.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Bring a response in 2 weeks.
2 weeks' time, yeah. It's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Member for Funyula, Ojambo Oundo, Doctor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44.2c, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Energy regarding the operations of Kudura Power East Africa in Western Kenya. Honorable Speaker, Kudura Power East Africa Limited is a Kenyan enterprise specializing in the development and operation of renewable energy mini-grids in Western Kenya. Its primary focus is providing reliable and affordable electricity and clean water to rural communities. However, despite such a commendable initiative, the residents of Sidonge A, Diraho, Rukada, Mahurisi, Mudoriko, Wiri A and B, Namagumba, Mugonga, and Muhondo and Funyula constituency have raised concerns on the contributions of the project to enhancing growth of the local communities. It's observed that the power supplied by Kudura is unreliable during the rain seasons and sufficient for heavy-duty appliances. In addition, a tariff of Kenya shillings 83 and 33 cents charged per unit is significantly high compared to the rate of 25 per unit charged by Kenya Power. Sadly, Kudura has bad residents connected to their power supply from subscribing to alternative power providers to meet the electricity needs. Honorable Speaker, it's against this background I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Energy on the following. One, a report on the regulatory framework under which Kudura Power East Africa Limited is operating, generating and supplying power in Western Kenya. 2, the agreement on leases granted to Kudura Power to impose tariffs on power supplied and steps being taken to regulate such charges. 3, timelines within which Kudura will upgrade the infrastructure and ensure continuous and uninterrupted supply of power to homesteads. And finally, Honorable Speaker, a report on the terms of agreement between Kudura Power East Africa Limited and the government, including whether the terms are subject to review to allow alternative source service provider to supply power alongside Kudura. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chair Energy. Where is Gikaria? Member of committee. Majority Leader. Majority Leader. Direct the Chair Energy to bring this response in 2 weeks.
Most obliged.
Yes, Donya. What is it?
I don't think if we can give the answer in 2 weeks.
Why?
I made a statement before we went for recess. He said he was going to give in 2 weeks. It was ending today. He's not even in the House, Mr. Speaker. So I doubt if they'll give that feedback in 2 weeks. Thank you.
We will direct him to do so in 2 weeks. Is the Vice Chair of Energy here, I'm told?
Yes.
Aramat.
Yes, yes.
You can hear those aspersions against your committee?
Yes, I will.
Of your inability to bring a statement in accordance with your promise to the House.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we will...
Bring a response to Honorable Donya's request on Thursday, and this one in 2 weeks.
No problem, Mr. Speaker.
Next, Kakuta Maimai, Member Kajiado East.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Lands regarding the alleged fraudulent and irregular transfer of public land number 67, Isinya MRTC Demonstration Farm. Honorable Speaker, members of the Mboloi Group Ranch community have raised concerns over the illegal and fraudulent alienation of this public land, parcel number 67, within Isinya town. It is alleged that this public asset has been unlawfully transferred to a Mr. Sironga Olelemitei of ID number 0790473. Official records indicates that Mr. Lemitei listed as member number 197 in the Mboloi Group Ranch register was allocated land during the official subdivision of the 60,000 acre range, where he was issued parcel number KAJ/Captain North/712, measuring 158 acres. It is reported that he later willingly sold the land to multiple individuals. Honorable Speaker, during a meeting convened by the Isinya Sub-County Security Committee, they said Mr. Lemitei confirmed that the land in question had changed ownership with the knowledge and assistance of key public officials, including the former Kajiado County Council and the Kajiado County Executive Committee member for lands. This raises serious concerns about potential abuse of office and collusion in the illegal misappropriation of community land, calling for justice and protection of the ancestral land for members of the Mboloi Group Ranch. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Lands on the following. 1, a report on the steps that the Ministry of Lands is taking to investigate the fraudulent transfer of parcel number 67 in Kajiado County, Isinya MRTC Demonstration Farm. 2, measures being put in place by the Ministry of Lands to reverse the illegal transaction and restore the land to its rightful public status. And 3, actions being taken to bring to account public officers involved in facilitating illegal transfer of public land to prevent similar cases. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Chair Lands. Lands. Nyamoko. Any member of that committee? Lands, Majority Leader, inform them to bring a response in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Yes.
It is hard if this land in Isinya can be transferred fraudulently, Honorable Speaker. I'll ask the chair or the vice chair to bring it in exactly 2 weeks.
Thank you. Response to a statement requested by Joseph Munyoro, MP Kigumo. Kahangara, you said you are holding brief for your chairman.
Yes,
So
Mr.
go
Speaker.
ahead and respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to respond to a statement regarding the disappearance of persons. The Honourable Member of Parliament for Kigumo constituency, Honourable Joseph Munyoro, requested a statement on the disappearance of persons, and the Honourable Member particularly sought to be informed of 1, the whereabouts of Mr. David Gitau Maina, Mr. David Jehia Macharia, Mr. James Mboro Karaoke, and Mr. Patrick Karanja Gitau, and the status of investigations by police on their disappearances as reported at the OMB numbers 10-01-01-2025, 10-29/12-2024, 29/8/1-2025, and 14/01/225 respectively. Also, number 2 is actions being taken by the Ministry of Interior and National Administration to ensure that the said persons are expeditiously traced and reunited with their families, and perpetrators of the disappearances are brought to book. Measures put in place by the Ministry of Interior and National Administration to ensure the safety of residents of Mareira sublocation in Kegumo constituency. And number 4, plans put in place by the ministry to provide more vehicles to Kegumo police station to facilitate security. And I wish to state as follows. 1, disappearance of David Gitau Maina. Honorable Chair, Speaker, on 1st January 2025, Stephen Maina Gitau reported the disappearance of his father, David Gitau Maina, at Kegumo police station under OB number 10/01/01225. The report was officially circulated via Signal, Stapo, Kegumo reference KPS, KGM, KGMS, S and C3/81, dated 2nd of January 2025. The following day, successful as all had been switched off since the day he disappeared. The numbers were forwarded to Safaricom and Airtel service providers. Enhance operational efficiency, effectiveness, and mobility within Kegumo sub-county, and the planned allocations are as follows. I hope the member is listening. Sub-county headquarters will be allocated 1 motor vehicle, Kegumo Police Station 1 motor vehicle, Kangari Police Station 1 motor vehicle, Ngonda Police Station 1 motor vehicle, and Gidembe Police Station 1 motor vehicle. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Kigumo is in the house. Yes, Munyoro.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I thank you for the response. But I think one of the strangest things about these cases is that they've happened, all of them in one sub-location. And if you look at the answers given by the committee, they are only talking about pending investigations. In the case of David Gitau, he said that they've arrested someone who had his phone through a copy of the IME number. And I think it would have helped us to know what he's been charged with, whether he's confessed to either being part of the people that has caused the disappearance of Gitau, and whether he has any connection with the other disappearances. Honorable Speaker, they've talked about increased patrols in the region, and I would have liked to hear about the frequency, whether they've increased the number of police officers. We are told about forensics. It's unfortunate that in the case of James Buru Kariuki, his disappearance was reported on the 8th of January, and the report from Safaricom says that his phones were switched off on the 26th of January, which means it's 18 days later. So there is a lot of information that is not there, and I would like to get some clarity from the committee. Lastly, on the motor vehicles, I think we've gotten promises many, many times. I would like to know timelines, because buying motor vehicles is about budgeting and making sure that this is done. So kindly, could the committee tell us when we'll be able to get our motor vehicles? And I'm happy that they've said they'll give us 5 vehicles for patrols. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Kara, do you have any response to those clarifications?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. As the member has said that all these incidences happen to come from one sublocation, I think the answers given on issues of disappearance, it's always advisable to give police time, because when somebody disappears, sometime you don't even know if they disappear, of course, willingly, or anything could have happened to them. But Mr. Speaker, I believe we give police more time to do the investigations. And as we have seen on the case of David Gitau, the arrest that has already been made, the issue of how the police were able to arrest the suspect is through the IMI number. And I think that indicates that indeed the police are working, and they have indicated that they will continue looking for the other persons through forensic ways. The issue of increased patrols, Mr. Speaker, I think that depends very much on the strength of the police officers in that particular area. And I can tell this House that now that we are going to do the budgeting, as a committee, we are requesting that we get more funding to be able to recruit more police officers, and that will help us to increase the strength of officers in particular areas. On the issue of motor vehicles, as we are aware that initially the government had entered in some contract of hiring the vehicles, and because of some issues, the government now plans to buy motor vehicles. And I can assure you, I can assure the member that this problem of motor vehicles is across the country, and as promised through the Minister for Interior, you'll be able to get the vehicles that are promised for your particular area. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next order. Hold on. Yes, Bowen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sometime last year, around November, I drafted a question on the issue of Parliamentary Service Commission, especially the oversight. And Mr. Speaker, this is something I want to ask your indulgence and also advice. At the same time, also give us a direction. because it is also a constitutional question. Mr. Speaker, the Article 95, Sub-Article 5B of the Constitution provides the National Assembly function of oversight, Mr. Speaker.
Bowen, you're saying you already asked that, requested for that statement?
No, I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, I did draft that question before the table office, and I signed the statement, and up to now I have not seen that statement. And that's why I'm saying I'm seeking your direction, because it is also a constitutional question.
Drop a copy of your statement to the clerk. It will be dealt with and processed accordingly.
It's okay, Honorable Speaker, because it was to do with the oversight of Parliamentary Service Commission, because we have concerns as members, and when we talked with our colleague, the chair of members' welfare, Mr. Speaker.
In any case, Honorable Bowen, if you take your seat, if you are here when we were starting this session, I did direct the House that questions and statements asked and raised or requested for in the last session lapsed with the session, if you may recall. And I directed and advised that those members whose questions and statements had collapsed that way had an opportunity to go and resurrect them. So all you need to do is, you know the resurrection center. You can go and resurrect the request, then it will be processed in the normal manner. Is that okay? Thank you, Honorable Bowen. Next.
Order number 9, the Pyrethrum Repeal Bill, National Assembly Bill number 40 of 2024, first reading. A bill for an act of Parliament to repeal the Pyrethrum Act and for connected purposes. Order number 10, the Virtual Asset Service Providers Bill, National Assembly Bill number 15 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of Parliament to provide for the legal framework to license and regulate the activities of virtual asset service providers and for connected purposes. Order number 11, motion, consideration of nominees to 37 National Government Constituency Development Fund committees.
You've called order number?
11.
Musa Sirma.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that pursuant to the provision of Section 43(4) of the National Government Constituency Development Fund, Act 2015, and paragraph 5, 2, and 10 of the National Government Constituency Development Fund, Regulations 2016, this House approves the list of nominees for appointment to the following 37 constituency committees of the National Government Constituency Development Fund. Mr. Speaker, I beg to, the names are appended in the order paper from number 1 to 37, starting from Bomet Central Constituency to Yatta Constituency as the 37th. Mr. Speaker, the names of the various committees within in the constituencies so far received, we have now a balance of 74 which are with the board, which they will be able to finish within the next few days. But 16 constituencies have not submitted at all. I want to urge those constituencies to expedite the process and deliver those proposals they want to be approved by the House so that we can be able to bring them and gazette them together. Mr. Speaker, we are also, as members of parliament from the various constituencies, are still requesting that the funding so far, we are way back from the list which was brought here last week from Treasury. We are late by 3 months, which translates to 21 billion. Mr. Speaker, we want the Minister for Finance to take keen interest in the development of the various schools and the developments which have been earmarked for development. We are almost closing the financial year, and here we do not have money. So, Mr. Speaker, as I close to say that we approve the names, I want to ask Honorable Wamboka to second this motion. Mr. Speaker, thank you.
Honorable Sirma, you end by saying, I beg to move.
Yes, thank
you. And request whichever member you want to second.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that these names be approved, and I ask Honorable Wamboka to second.
Thank you. That's better.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the move by Honorable Musa Sirima that indeed CDF needs
For the record, Honorable Wamboka, you are seconding a motion, not a move.
I rise to second a motion.
Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You know you have been here longer, Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
I second the motion by Honorable Sirima. We need to operationalize our CDF offices by ensuring that we have the legally certified people in these offices, Honorable Speaker. I will just call upon the Attorney General that once we have approved these names, they move and gazette so that they can move and start working, Honorable Speaker. 2, Honorable Speaker, on the CDF aspect, for some time now, Treasury has been playing with this House. And as an assembly, Honorable Speaker, we must be firm. It becomes worse and gets worse, Honorable Speaker, when they use you as a shield, Honorable Speaker. That every other time when members are aggressive, they want them to deliver on their timelines, Honorable Speaker, they come and in a way plead with you to come and talk to us, which, Honorable Speaker, we accept. But they don't live by the part of bargain, Honorable Speaker. As we speak, most students in our universities are starting exams this week, Honorable Speaker. We do not have money for bursaries. It is a crisis, Honorable Speaker. Treasury is not responding. They have given us promissory notes and that have expired, and now they don't have a face. I want to call upon members of this House that we freeze any operations, any business of this House, and we call the Minister for Finance to come and give us CDF money in full, Honorable Speaker. As we speak, we cannot even go to our constituencies because the questions we are being asked, Honorable Speaker, we do not have answers. But we have a minister who's been one of us. Apparently, I don't know, when you cross the other side, because we don't know what happens the other side, when immediately members cross the other side, they completely forget the problems of Wananchi on the ground. So, Honorable Speaker, I am appealing to this House, Honorable members, that we freeze the business of this House for the sake of children of Kenya, that we cannot transact. We cannot continue transacting, Honorable Speaker, because people want to lynch Honorable Sirma. Sirma has no answers. Sirma is equally suffering the way we are suffering, Honorable Speaker. Members, I want to appeal that let's suspend this sitting until we have Honorable Mbadi to come and give us the money in full. And Honorable Speaker, for now, we want to appeal to you that remove that shield they have been using, because they know we respect you, Honorable Speaker. They come through you Tell Mbadi to come and tell us where is the money. Honorable members, as I second, I move that we freeze the business of today and we continue after Mbadi has given us money. Thank you. I second, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, for the record, before I propose the question, since last week's mention of a similar issue and the concern that the distinguished member for Bumula is raising, I directed the clerk to get in touch with the PS Finance. I also directed the majority leader to get in touch with Treasury. And as I proposed the question and subsequently put the question, I direct the majority leader to bring a statement to the House tomorrow at 2:30 to assure the House on the levels of disbursements of CDF so that your constituencies can continue functioning. Paralyzing the House may be too drastic and may not necessarily solve the problem, Honorable Amboka. Hold your horses to tomorrow 2:30.
Can we have the minister, Honorable Speaker?
I have to propose the question.
Honorable Speaker,
Order.
Can we just have the minister here instead of having a response? Can you just direct, for the sake of this House, because I have also put your name at disrepute, Honorable Speaker. If we didn't know you as your members, we would be having problems with you. But now we know you and have been using you as a shield. Can we have Honorable Mbadi here tomorrow, Honorable Speaker, with due respect?
I'll direct the majority leader to search for and find the Honorable Mbadi and deliver him to the House at 2:30 tomorrow.
Minority leader.
Honorable members, I'll now propose the question at order number 11, which that pursuant to the provisions of section 43(4) of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Act 2015 and paragraph 5, 2, and 10 of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Regulations 2016, this House approves the list of nominees for appointment to the following 37 constituency committees of the National Government Constituency Development Fund. The 37 constituencies and all the nominees are set out in the order paper. I put the question. And I put the question at order number 11, which is that pursuant to the provisions of section 43(4) of the National Government Constituency Development Fund Act 2015 and paragraphs 5, 2, and 10 of the National Government Constituencies Development Fund Regulations 2016, this House approves the list of nominees for appointment to the following 37 constituency committees of the National Constituency Development Fund as set out in the order paper for both the constituencies and the nominees. As members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next.
Order number 12, motion, consideration of Senate amendments to the Houses of Parliament Bicameral Relations Bill, National Assembly Bill number 44 of 2023.
Honorable members, as we go to order number 12, once we dispose of order number 12, the manner in which we dispose of order number 12 will determine the fate of order number 13. Then we have order number 14, which I'm told is a very short order. After that, I'll direct that we reorganize the order paper to move order number 17 to precede order number 15, and thereafter we shall move sequentially as listed on the order paper. Chepkonga.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to move that the Senate amendments to the Houses of Parliament Bicameral Relations Bill, National Assembly Bill number 44 of 2023 be now considered. Mr. Speaker, this is a bill that originated from this House. This is a bill that contains a raft of proposals, Mr. Speaker, to guide the bicameral relations between the two houses. Mr. Speaker, I will be requesting the House to agree with the Committee of Justice and Legal Affairs to reject the proposed amendments from the Senate. Because those amendments, Mr. Speaker, water down the bill and seeks to amend the Constitution through the back door. Mr. Speaker, just to recast what were the issues that were contained in the bill that we passed in this House. Mr. Speaker, this bill was first published in 2023. And Mr. Speaker, the bill sought to amend, sought to give effect to Articles 109, 110, 113, 114, and 118 of the Constitution to foster the bicameral relations by prescribing procedures for ensuring seamless consideration of the legislative business of both houses of Parliament. In particular, Mr. Speaker, the bill sought to outline a framework to implement Article 110 of the Constitution, which has been a basis of disputes between the two houses. As you know, Mr. Speaker, this particular article has been of serious and tremendous contention between the two houses as to the manner in which we should consider various bills in light of Article 110(3) of the Constitution. Number two, Mr. Speaker, the bill that was sent to the Senate proposed parameters for the speakers of Parliament to consider when determining whether a bill concerns county government. And thirdly, the bill sought to encourage collaboration by permitting co-sponsorship of bills between members of the National Assembly and the Senate. It also outlines procedures for joint proceedings, mediation, and joint committees of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, as you are aware, there has not been a procedure in the standing orders of both houses, the National Assembly and the Senate, that allows members of both houses to sponsor a bill, to co-sponsor a bill. As it is, like for instance, we were seeking to co-sponsor the constitutional amendment on the entrenchment of the various funds in the Constitution. But the standing orders do not allow members of the other house to co-sponsor that bill with us, Mr. Speaker. And fourthly, the bill proposed that was passed and sent to the other house for joint public participation. As you are aware, Mr. Speaker, the various committees have been, this house has been conducting public participation on a number of raft of bills. And the other house, the Senate, Mr. Speaker, considers also the bills that touch on the counties that are sent to the other house. And they restart the whole process of Article 118, wasting public funds. And so this bill was seeking to introduce a procedure for ensuring that we do not duplicate public participation in an effort to pass a number of bills. And finally, Mr. Speaker, the bill also required both houses, to adopt what we call alternative dispute resolution. Mr. Speaker, as you are aware, there has been a rush by the other house in many instances to seek court's interpretation on a number of issues that this house has passed. This house has never taken the Senate to the judiciary or to judicial process. Mr. Speaker, instead of us sitting down and agreeing on our issues, Mr. Speaker, the Senate has been rushing to the courts of law to seek protection from the judiciary, which is another arm of government, instead of people seeking to resolve their issues that are of interest to the people of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, this has been completely out of order, and this bill sought to resolve those issues, Mr. Speaker. And having considered the amendments, having the Department Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, having considered the amendments, they are proposed to reject the amendments as proposed by the Senate. And Mr. Speaker, I will be requesting the Honorable Murugara to second this particular motion, and he will give the reasons for proposing the rejection. I have gone through the report, Mr. Speaker, and the report, Mr. Speaker, is very succinct and very cogent in the reasons that they are provided for the rejection of the proposed amendments to the bill that was approved by the House. Honorable Speaker, I am in complete agreement with that report. Mr. Speaker, so that we do not spend a lot of time, I just want to truncate to what I consider to be very important. Mr. Speaker, in the recent decision by the Supreme Court, arising from an appeal from the Court of Appeal by the Senate, in which it had sued the National Assembly on a number of bills that had been passed by this House without referring them to the Senate, in which we considered, Mr. Speaker, that there were bills that had nothing to do with the county governments. And Mr. Speaker, they took us to the High Court in the first instance. And the High Court invalidated 23 acts of parliament that had been passed by this House. The Court of Appeal similarly also made an attempt to invalidate those legislation. But when we go to when the appeal went to the Supreme Court, Mr. Speaker, the Supreme Court, in its decision and finding, found that 21 acts of parliament had nothing to do with the Senate, including the National Constituency Development Fund. They found these particular legislations to have been within the remit of the National Assembly. And so, Mr. Speaker, the various orders that were sought by the Senate were all summarily dismissed, Mr. Speaker. And I just want to mention, for the avoidance of doubt, Mr. Speaker, the orders that were sought and were dismissed by the Supreme Court. That they sought that a mandatory injunction be issued against the National Assembly from considering bills that touch on county and that have not been referred to the National Assembly. Number two, Mr. Speaker, they sought to invalidate 21 acts of parliament to be unconstitutional. The Supreme Court found that the 21 acts of parliament were indeed constitutional, and they rejected that particular request by the Senate. The Supreme Court also found that the Senate had no role in the origination, consideration, and enactment of money bills, Mr. Speaker, as per Article 110 of the Constitution. And fourthly, they found also that the National Assembly has the exclusive role in the origination, consideration, and enactment of money bills, Mr. Speaker. And finally, this was the order of the Supreme Court, that the constitutionality of the Parliamentary Service Act was not in issue and could not therefore be considered by the Supreme Court, and that was left for the determination by the High Court. Mr. Speaker, the findings of the Supreme Court, which I have just mentioned, are therefore critical to the consideration of the Senate amendments that have been proposed to this House, Mr. Speaker. And those amendments, Mr. Speaker, ran afoul and completely in contravention of the finding and the decision of the Supreme Court, Mr. Speaker. I wish to laud the Supreme Court for the stoic decision and guidance that they have given in finality, Mr. Speaker, and setting the record straight in ensuring that there's harmonious relationship between the two houses, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to mention this in closing. Mr. Speaker, recently we passed a request from the IEBC selection panel in which they sought for an extension of 14 days. This House passed that request, Mr. Speaker. When it went to the Senate questioned the manner in which that proposal was sent to this House. In fact, they said that the Speaker of this House ought not to have received it and ought not to have forwarded to the House. Mr. Speaker, this request was made to the Speaker in his capacity as the chairman of the Parliamentary Service Commission. So to question the law in which both houses passed, Mr. Speaker, I found it to be a zero-sum game and argument by the Senate. And in fact, seeking to impeach the character of the Speaker. I found it, Mr. Speaker, to be completely out of turn, throwing tantrums that were completely unnecessary. In fact, the mover of that particular request, the Senator, my very good friend, Senator Kalwale, said he doesn't even know why he was moving it. And yet he was moving it, Mr. Speaker. In fact, I thought a little bit, and I thought, is it a joke or something like that of the century? That someone is moving a request and he says he doesn't know why he's moving it. And they eventually passed it, Mr. Speaker. So, you know, some of these things that are completely contradictory, that this bill was seeking to bring to rest. And so, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to request this House that we completely agree with the proposals of the Committee of Justice and Legal Affairs to reject the amendments that have been proposed by the Senate, because it seeks to amend the Constitution through the back door. They are seeking to amend Article 109(3) of the Constitution. They are seeking to amend Article 114 of the Constitution. They are seeking to amend Article 110 of the Constitution that gives power to this House. Mr. Speaker, we were not proposing this bicameral relations bill so that the Senate proposes amendments that will water down the constitutional provisions without amending the Constitution. If they want to amend the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, let them bring them the proposed amendment to the Constitution. And they must comply with the requirements of amendments to the Constitution. With those remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move and request the Honorable Murugara to second.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, allow me to second this motion and advise the House that when the vote is called, we will be rejecting that motion, that the proposed amendments by the Senate should not be considered, such that those amendments will actually be lost and the motion will also be lost. Mr. Speaker, sir, I must start by stating that I have read the judgment of the Supreme Court delivered on the 21st of March 2025 while we were away on short recess. And allow me, Mr. Speaker, sir, to laud the Supreme Court for having resolved a dispute that had dragged in for 6 years between the two houses of Parliament. This was an excellent piece of work from the Supreme Court, and they deserve a pat on the backs for having resolved this and having clearly stated what should go to the Senate and what should not go to the Senate. It is unfortunate that for 6 years, there was a duel in the courts between this House, the National Assembly, and the Senate on the interpretation of Article 1110 especially sub-article 3 of the Constitution, which requires the two houses to resolve any question where a bill concerns a county government or county governments, or it does not. From this particular decision, it was most bizarre that the interpretation by the Senate was that all bills have to be taken to the Senate, even bills that have nothing to do, no single provision concerning county governments. And this is what they are trying to do again. We will show with the intended proposed amendments by the Senate that they are actually going on the wrong tangent. This interpretation by the Senate was not only erroneous, but also ignored the existence of Article 109 of the Constitution, which provides that bills that do not concern county governments need not be considered by the Senate, but have to be considered by this House only. Therefore, this judgment is commendable in that it has settled that long dispute of 6 years and has clearly expressly provided what falls under Article 110, sub-article 3 of the Constitution, and that it's only bills that concern counties that possibly will have questions rising, which questions have to be determined by the two speakers. Article 96 of the Constitution clearly states what the mandate of the Senate is, which is to represent and protect the interests of the counties, and especially in the matters legislation, in the matters parliament. It is the legislative mandate of Senate which is limited to only bills concerning county governments, and not all bills as the Senate has tried to make us believe and was trying to make the courts to believe, which was rejected by the courts. There are obvious bills which must be taken to the Senate, and especially and including money bills. And what we have in mind include division of revenue and county allocation of revenue bills. Those ones go without gainsaying to the Senate, and where a question arises, the two speakers have to resolve. Honorable Speaker, sir, Justice and Legal Affairs Committee has keenly scrutinized the amendments proposed by Senate, and having carefully looked at them, we call for a rejection of those particular proposals. The reason is that the Senate indirectly tries to perpetuate unconstitutional practice and the misconceived arguments which they actually made in court and which arguments were lost. When the drafters of the Constitution actually came up with what we have and which we passed in 2010, they had in mind a bicameral parliament that was to work seamlessly and was to be guided by distinct mandates of each house. This is why it took time to make provisions on what the National Assembly would do and what the Senate would do in turn. We also have the fourth schedule where it is clearly defined which house is supposed to do what, and the functions are clearly demarcated between the national government and the functions of the county governments. Therefore, I wonder why anyone would ignore these very well thought out constitutional provisions, and we had to waste 6 years out there in the courts battling it out on what should go to the Senate and what should not go to the Senate. And having carefully read the judgment of the Supreme Court, having looked at their paragraph 95, which is in black and white, it now goes unquestioned where the concurrence process should be sought. And having looked at this, having looked at the proposed amendments, we are left with no option but to urge this House to reject those proposed amendments we oppose this motion and let everything from the Senate fall by the wayside. We will go to a mediation after that, and we will demonstrate to the Senate what exactly the Constitution says, what exactly we painstakingly went through when we were coming up with the report on the Bicameral Relations Act or Bill, which Honorable Chepkonga had actually taken pain to draft and urge it through this House to success. As I conclude, let me take you to what the Senate is proposing. Senate, as regards clause number 6, is actually proposing the following. Delete the entire of clause 6 and substitute therefore the following new clause. Clause 6, 1. Before a bill is read a first time in the House originating the bill, the Speaker of that House shall, pursuant to Article 1103 of the Constitution, invite the Speaker of the other House jointly to resolve the question on whether the bill is a bill concerning counties or a special bill or ordinary bill. What the Senate is proposing is that before any bill is read in this House, first and foremost, the two speakers must burn the midnight oil, must spend time, must also expend national resources in trying to sort out whether the bill concerns counties or not. May it be clear, and it is known to this House, there are bills which have nothing to do with the counties and have nothing to do with the Senate. And therefore, the Senate should not be calling upon us to waste our time, to waste resources, and possibly even energies, debating on whether a bill concerns a county or does not. Therefore, the entire of this proposal is a bad proposal which must be rejected. And had I more time, I would actually go through the entire proposed amendments from the Senate, which we are saying none of them qualifies to be considered by this House. Therefore, with those very many remarks, I beg to second the rejection of the amendments from the Senate and also the rejection of this motion. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I now propose a question that the Senate amendments to the Houses of Parliament Bicameral Relations Bill, National Assembly Bill number 44 of 2023, be now considered. Yes, Pokose.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the position taken by the committee on the consideration of the Senate amendments to the House of Parliament Bicameral Relations Bill, National Assembly Bill number 44 of 2023. Honorable Speaker, I also want to make my contributions to the Supreme Court judgment. Honorable Speaker, apart from the determination of the issues of application of Article 110(3) of the Constitution and Article 114 of the Constitution on money bills, the Senate also sought the invalidation of 23 Acts of Parliament which had been enacted by this House as stated by the Honorable Chepkonga. The Acts of Parliament, Honorable Speaker, sought to be invalidated on grounds that they were enacted without the participation of the Senate, included several appropriation acts that had already expended money for provision of public services to the people of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, the Senate also sought to invalidate the National Youth Service Act and the Kenya Coast Guard Act and several statute law miscellaneous amendment acts for several years. Honorable Speaker, I give these examples to just illustrate how far the dispute of the legislative mandate of the Senate had gone to an extent of almost throwing this country to a crisis by seeking invalidation of key acts of parliament that touch on critical sectors of the country. Honorable Speaker, I'm therefore pleased to note that the Supreme Court judgment has averted a definite crisis by upholding the constitutionality of the 21 acts of parliament. Though, Honorable Speaker, this has taken 6 years, and I hope that going by this in future, the court should be able to move fast with speed, because justice delayed is justice denied. The Senate amendments, as supported by the chair of the Justice and Legal Affairs, Honorable Murmukaru, do not align to this guidance of the Supreme Court, considering that those amendments which are being made, where you have to seek the approval, the two speakers have to spend time to determine whether this is a bill concerning counties or not. Already the drafters of the bill will already indicate whether it is concerning counties or not. And therefore, spending time to decide as whether it is concerned the counties or not is a waste of time, and I think that is not the direction that we should be able to take. Honorable Speaker, wasting time and arguing between the Senate and the National Assembly eats into the expectations of many Kenyans, because the country is waiting for Parliament to be able to enact laws that will give service to the people. And therefore, any delay in arguing to determine whether this is a bill that should have originated from the Senate or the National Assembly denies the services to the people. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support the committee's position and oppose any of the amendments by the Senate. Thank you.
The Majority Leader, followed by the Honorable David Ocheng.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also rise to support the committee's position on consideration of this business, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as the mover, Honorable Chepkonga, has said in his movement of consideration of this bicameral relations bill, many of the amendments, Honorable Speaker, that have been proposed by the Senate have been overtaken by time. Honorable Speaker, it's important to note that the House, in consideration of all the amendments passed by the Senate, also, I believe by the time the committee was considering, the Supreme Court ruling had not come out. But the Supreme Court ruling is now out. And I must take this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, to note with great appreciation the great work done by the judges of the Supreme Court in arbitrating in a matter that should never in the first place have ended up in court, leave alone finding its way all the way to the Supreme Court of the Republic of Kenya. Because, Honorable Speaker, these are issues that between the two houses we should have been able to resolve. But, Honorable Speaker, in the book of Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe, somewhere that Okonkwo noted the need or the desire to celebrate all your achievements, irrespective of whether other people are celebrating or not. And he said that the lizard that jumped from the high Iroko tree to the ground had to celebrate and praise himself if no one else did. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, we are at such a point that the National Assembly, having jumped from the big Iroko tree, whether anybody else praises us or celebrates us, we must celebrate this House for our fortitude and our commitment to the word and letter of the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya as enacted by Kenyans in 2010. Because we are vindicated by the Supreme Court, Honorable Speaker, that indeed the
Constitution of the Republic of Kenya as enacted in 2010 and passed resoundingly by Kenyans gave particular mandates to both houses, appreciating that we are now in a bicameral system of parliament, but also gave specific functions and duties to each of the two houses. And that's why I said, Honorable Speaker, we have gone through a painful 6 years. And many of us agonized over the years on why we need to be fighting in court between us and the Senate. And Honorable Speaker, you remember there are many, even in the last parliament, because Honorable Speaker, I am lucky that at the time these 23 acts of parliament were passed, I was a member of this house. And through the agonizing 6 years, there are many members of this house also who almost gave up and would often question the leadership and the Speaker of the House on the need to be fighting in court. And some even suggested, why don't we just reenact these laws again and send them to the Senate? But there are many of us, Honorable Speaker, truly believing in the position espoused in our Constitution, that as much as we have a bicameral parliament, there are specific functions and responsibilities of each house. And the Constitution is clear on what manner of bills should go to the Senate and which ones need not go, Honorable Speaker. And that's why I take this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, to celebrate the Supreme Court judges, to celebrate this House for staying true to the provisions of our Constitution, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you know, when we refer bills to the other House, we never do it out of benevolence or pity, or because we do it just to please people in the other House, or because we are not able to enact laws. We refer bills that ought to be referred to the other House because these are the dictates of the Constitution. And the bills that we do not refer to the other House, we do not refer to the other House because that is what the Constitution dictates. That, for instance, on matters that touch on money bill, and I must mention this, Honorable Speaker, because I know we are in the mediation process of another bill, the National Lottery Bill. Again, I saw the other House, the Senate, attempt to bring in amendments that touch on taxation, Honorable Speaker. Matters that clearly are not under the purview of the Senate as provided for in our Constitution. Therefore, let me take this opportunity to remind the Chair of the Finance Committee and the Chair of the Sports Committee, who are leading the mediation committee between us and the Senate, that nothing that touches on taxation, on administration of tax, should be considered in those amendments that came from the Senate. Because it was a disingenuous way of the Senate trying to participate in tax matters by introducing amendments to a National Assembly bill and introducing amendments that touch on tax administration and tax matters, Honorable Speaker. So that we get into mediation and now we start haggling over those. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, now that the Supreme Court has set the record straight, and as painful as it has been, Honorable Speaker, because I told you many despaired along the way over these 6 years, but we have learned our painful lesson, Honorable Speaker, of how not to resolve bicameral disputes. Because for 6 years, immense public resources have been spent paying lawyers. Immense time has been spent of our officers in the National Assembly and those in the Senate at a time when our internal lawyers and public officers who work in Parliament would have been doing other meaningful things. They spent time, Honorable Speaker, fighting over this dispute in court. And it was a matter that would have simply resolved without ever having to go to court, Honorable Speaker. But, Honorable Speaker, let me conclude by saying that this Supreme Court ruling is a win-win situation, Honorable Speaker. It is a win for Parliament as a whole. Both houses have now been reminded of our constitutional responsibilities and the limits of our mandates, our respective mandates, Honorable Speaker. It is now clear where our mandate begins and where it ends, and where that of the Senate begins and where it ends. It is now time for both houses to discharge our responsibilities and observe our constitutional limits diligently without need to haggle, without need to throw words at each other. Honorable Speaker, as I said when I began, with that in mind, and in this win-win situation, and this win for Parliament, and a win for the Constitution of Kenya, Honorable Speaker, an institution that were created by the Constitution of Kenya, including the Supreme Court and the two houses, Honorable Speaker. Many of the amendments that have been proposed by the Senate in this bill have been spent because that Supreme Court judgment, as delivered, has dealt in great detail. And those who have taken time to read the judgment will see that the Supreme Court judges did take a lot of their time in considering all the issues. And therefore, many of these amendments are overtaken by time and events, including that judgment. And we should not be taken back to Egypt now. Let us cross the Mediterranean and get out of Egypt, Honorable Speaker, and agree with the committee to reject all those amendments, as the chair said. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable David Ochieng, before you contribute, I want to recognize the presence in the public gallery of students from PCA Chogoria, Central Thiga Church, from Mara constituency, the Rakanidi. And I think we have a member of parliament for the Raka, who comes from the Raka County and the Raka constituency, who is going to represent a member of parliament for Mara. The Honorable Murugara, look this side. This is the public gallery. That one is the speaker's gallery. And if you want to get closer so they can watch you, go that way, because this is probably...
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, thank you for giving me the chance to welcome this team from Mara constituency. It's supposed to be on behalf of my good friend Kareke Mbuki, who is not here. They are very much welcome here into the house to observe the proceedings and also see what happens in this August House, where they have elected leaders to come and represent the interests of the various communities in the country. Those remarks, I sincerely welcome them to observe the proceedings.
Yes. Proceed, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me also take this opportunity to welcome that group from Chogoria constituency in the Rakanidi County. Honorable Speaker, this I hear the Honorable member for Buri saying it is PCA. I wanted to say these are very good people from Chogoria. As he says, it is a home of the second home of the Scottish missionaries who established the Presbyterian Church of East Africa when they first arrived in Kibwezi, before they moved on to the cooler areas of Kikuyu. The only other place they found that was as cool and as good as Kikuyu was Chogoria. And therefore, I want to take this opportunity to welcome these visitors to the house. And the people of the Rakanidi, or otherwise known as the Stronghold, are very good people. I was in Chogoria last week accompanying the president on the tour of the mountain. And the people of the Rakanidi and Chogoria can tell you that indeed the mountain is intact. Those people who claimed to have written a will on behalf of the people of Mount Kenya, even the visitors here today will tell you that they have the capacity to make decisions on who to vote for, including their member of parliament and other leaders, without having to look at wills written by individuals. And indeed, when we went to Chogoria, the people of Chogoria told us last week that if anybody wants to do a will, you do a will for your wife, your two boys, and any other any others that you may have out there, but not for the people of Kenya, the people of Chogoria, or the people of Mount Kenya. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable David Ochieng, the minority leader. Can I give a minority leader just before you, because you had caught the speaker's eye, but I'm sure you respect your own minority leader here.
Floor for him.
Thank you. Minority leader, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank Honorable Ochieng for ceding the time for me, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Ochieng is a potential presidential candidate from my area. Mr. Speaker, yeah, we are looking at a team with good eyes. But I'm telling him he has to wait for some time. Not long now, but he's almost there. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, I stand to oppose this motion, Mr. Speaker, because why do I say so, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, these issues that we are conversing this afternoon here, Mr. Speaker, are issues that have been long-standing. Mr. Speaker, from the year 2013, when we started having this bicameral parliament, Mr. Speaker, we have been having these issues. Mr. Speaker, I remember in that parliament, I was there, we were grappling with the idea whether to seek opinion from the Attorney General, to seek opinion from scholars on what is the mandate of the two different houses, Mr. Speaker. But now I'm very happy because the Supreme Court of Kenya has pronounced itself on this matter. Mr. Speaker, these matters have been very clear from the word go. Anybody who could read the Constitution could understand very well Article 94, 95, and 96 of the Constitution. And that's why, under the initiative of Honorable Chepkonga, we decided to initiate a bill as a House that can at least demarcate the functions of the two houses, Mr. Speaker. But apparently, the Senate, in their own wisdom of lack of it, decided to return the bill with outrageous amendments that just negates the whole purpose of the bill, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I remember vividly one time when the senators moved to court dancing on the road, Mr. Speaker, and we were sitting here watching them on TV. They were literally dancing. You know, you were there, you were in the Senate that time. Honorable, the lady, Honorable from Marsabit, Naomi Wako, the deputy whip, says she was a member of that Senate. They took 24 bills that we passed in this House, danced on the road, Mr. Speaker, like people who have won an election or something, and went to court with the sole purpose and intention of demonizing and intimidating and making the House of National Assembly look bad, Mr. Speaker. When we knew very well, when we had clarity of mind that the Senate had no role in those bills, Mr. Speaker. Yes. And in the end, we got vindicated. Last week or the other week, when the Supreme Court did their ruling, we were vindicated. Public resources were wasted that were used in the litigation process. So, Mr. Speaker, it is now very clear, like day and night, what are the functions of each houses. And this debate of what is the function of the Senate and what is the functions of the National Assembly, Mr. Speaker, must end today afternoon, Mr. Speaker. From today going forward, the Senate must know that the Supreme Court has said what they are supposed to do. Mr. Speaker, we have reached a level in this parliament, the bicameral parliament, where the Senate was demanding that taxation bills, budgetary bills, money bills, and all kinds of bills must be taken to the Senate before they become an act of parliament. The court has now categorically ruled with clarity that the Senate of the Republic of Kenya has no role in money bills completely, Mr. Speaker. They can only deal with monies that the county governments are sharing among themselves through the revenue allocation bill, the county revenue allocation bill, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, anybody who understood or who read the Constitution properly knew very well that the Senate had no role at all in many bills. But they decided on their own volition to take the matter to court. First, they took it to the High Court, they lost it. They went to the Court of Appeal, they lost. They went to the Supreme Court now, and it finished the matter with finality. So, Mr. Speaker, counties are supposed to deal with matters concerning, Senate is supposed to deal with matters concerning counties. And the National Assembly is supposed to deal with issues that concern the national people, the constituencies, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, when the Constitution is very clear, and you have been told you are supposed to deal with matters concerning counties, why do you want to infringe on other people's work? If you feel the Senate has no much work to do, Next election, contest for a constituency. Come to the National Assembly and do that kind of work. Mr. Speaker, the oversighting of national organs, Mr. Speaker, is the mandate of the National Assembly. When I see Senate calling Kenya pipeline, Senate calling national irrigation, what is this thing called? Kenya Power. I just see, if today I was the minister of, or the CEO of that organization, I will not go up here before the Senate. You can send me as many summons as you want, because we have to adhere to the Constitution. The Constitution has demarcated the boundaries. Counties, Senate is supposed to deal matters concerning counties. And now we have a Supreme Court ruling. I don't know what they're going to do. Whether the Senate has the powers to annul the judgment of the Supreme Court, we will wait to see. Because it looks like the Senate now has powers to do anything. They can even annul a judgment, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I know how our colleagues are feeling. I know that they are feeling that they are supposed to do everything the National Assembly is doing. But unfortunately, the Constitution is what guides us as a nation. If the Constitution does not allow you to do that work. And why are they shying away from dealing with issues of counties, Mr. Speaker? Because we have 47 counties, and the main benefit the Kenyans got from the new Constitution, Mr. Speaker, is devolution. If I was a senator today, I will be preoccupied a lot with how to fortify and make devolution work, Mr. Speaker. Because that is where the rubber meets the road. That is where Kenyans are supposed to be served, Mr. Speaker. But now it looks like it is more lucrative to deal with the national issues. You could see last year what was happening. Every small national issue that comes up that needs to be dealt with by the National Assembly was taken up by the Senate. Every national issue. And now making the National Assembly look like they don't know what they are doing. We have been waiting for the Supreme Court ruling. That's why we were quiet. Yeah, we were saying, let the Supreme Court rule. When the Supreme Court does their ruling, then we will know where our beacons are, how far we can go. Mr. Speaker, we must have clarity in this country, Mr. Speaker, because we cannot, very soon, even county assemblies will demand the work of the National Assembly or the work of the Senate. So if the senators want to do what they are supposed to do, then they should confine themselves to the work they have been given. Mr. Speaker, look at what they have done to this. Chepkonga and company, Mr. Speaker, went ahead to bring a bicameral bill, Mr. Speaker, so that it can help smooth running of the business of Parliament. What have I done? Because they thought they are going to get favorable judgments of the Supreme Court, they amended the whole thing in a manner that it becomes useless, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm very happy today. And I am very happy because in my lifetime, before I leave this house, Mr. Speaker, we now know what is the function of the National Assembly and what is the function of the Senate, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is what the Supreme Court said. I want to read it verbatim. The exclusion of the Senate from participating in the enactment of money bills is not an anomaly, but deliberate as it aligns with established legislative practices in other asymmetrical bicameral systems. That's the Supreme Court talking, it's not me. Recognizing the critical role of financial legislation in ensuring the smooth functioning of the state and the effective delivery of public services, many constitutions prescribe a specific legislative procedure for money bills. These provisions are designed to avoid conflicts between the chambers of the bicameral parliament and to prevent prolonged deadlocks over financial matters that could hinder governance and economic stability, Mr. Speaker. Because what the Senate was trying to do was to hinder economic stability in this country. When you usurp powers, because according to me, the last 10 years, what was happening, what the Senate was trying to do was what I described as power grab. They wanted to grab the powers of the National Assembly. The functions, the powers of the past is with the National Assembly. If I was even to go further, I would have recommended even the division of revenue bill doesn't need to go to the Senate. It's a money bill, by all intent and purposes, Mr. Speaker. And now the National Assembly has been given by the Senate powers that it can originate all bills, money bills, bills concerning counties. But our brothers in the Senate cannot originate money bills anymore from today. They can only originate bills that concern counties. But us, we can originate both bills that concern counties and money bills, Mr. Speaker. Bills on taxation, bills on appropriation, bills on budgetary. All that now belongs to the National Assembly. And we are going to do our duty professionally, diligently, for the good of the country. Mr. Speaker, it went to the extent where they almost described us as a lower house, when the Constitution has prescribed completely the functions that we have, and it makes this house to be the upper house. Because when you don't have the power of the past, how can you call yourself the upper house? In my view, even to reduce expenditure, to reduce the wage bill of the country, the Senate should be able to meet quarterly. The Senate sitting should be once for 3 months to look at county issues, and 4 sittings in a year is enough for the Senate, Mr. Speaker. In my view, if my view was considered. But because you can end up sitting every week 3 times, and there is no business to conduct. Now it forces you to infringe on other people's business, on other people's functions, constitutional functions. Why can't you just sit for once 3 months, look at county issues, look at them, how they are doing, audit their books, and then go home and rest? Then after another 3 months, 4 times a year is good enough for the Senate to sit, Mr. Speaker. And I'm not doing this in a derogatory manner, Mr. Speaker. I really mean it, because that is how we are going to reduce even the wage bill of this country. Mr. Speaker. So in my view, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I want to say this. I never thought a day will arrive in this country, because look, they took 24, not 1, not 2, not 3. They took 24 bills that were passed by this House to court. 24 bills. And the court could only agree with them on 2 bills only. All the rest was said the court declared that they were constitutional. How much money do you think we have spent in litigation? Both of us, both the Senate and National Assembly. How much money? A lot of money. Whose money is that? Taxpayers' money. So, Mr. Speaker, there was no need of taking those bills to court. There should have been an amicable way to solve that problem. The 2 houses could sit. Even now they are saying the concurrence that is required on bills by the 2 speakers only should happen when somebody raises it. If nobody raises it, there is no need for concurrence. The bills can go on. So, Mr. Speaker, I know we have differences of age set. The people in the Senate might be much older than us in terms of age. But that is not an African customary sitting or organization, Mr. Speaker. This is a constitutional organ that deals and does its functions in accordance with the Constitution. So if you are old, don't bring here issues of African that you have to respect the aged. You have to respect people older than you. No. Some of them now are young, and they
Give him an additional 2 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I know some of our colleagues in the Senate now are young and vibrant. I beseech them and I advise them, in the coming election, please go to a constituency. That is where work is. Hii nyumba ya wasee, wachia wasee.
Order, Honorable Minority Leader. You cannot mix the 2 languages in one contribution.
Mr. Speaker,
you can either go straight Swahili or go English. You started with English, finish with English.
Mr. Speaker, I'm using the nyumba of wasee in courts, Mr. Speaker. In courts, Mr. Speaker, because I don't know how to describe nyumba ya wasee in English. They are called what? The House of Old Men. Or the House of Lords, Mr. Speaker. Or House of Lords. Mr. Speaker, the House of Lords. I know there is not much work there. The young people who are my age mates, our contemporaries, in the next election, either try to be a governor or a member of the National Assembly, so that you don't feel bad, or you don't feel misused, or you don't feel that your energy is not being utilized at your prime age, Mr. Speaker. Come to the National Assembly, where you will deal with budgetary, taxation, appropriation, and all kinds of matters that concern constituencies and the people of Kenya. And issues of national concern, not issues that concern counties only. And you know issues that can concern counties: burial permits, how to bury, the pets when they die, sewage issues, water issues. Those are the issues that are of concern, Mr. Speaker, to the counties. And let us stick to our lines, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I oppose this motion. Thank you very much.
Honorable David Ochieng.
I think this is the longest I've had to wait to speak. Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with the Honorable Junet, who is my friend, on all he has said. Mr. Speaker, the Senate amendments to the Houses of Parliament bill are all, in my opinion, in bad faith, and they must all be rejected. Mr. Speaker, I've said here, and I want to repeat, that in 236 years, the Senate in the US has never sued the House of Representatives, and vice versa. 236 years. And wherever even a citizen has gone to court to get this issue to fight, the courts have said no, not our province, not our jurisdiction. So, Mr. Speaker, I believe that the first sin in this case was by the High Court in 2013 to get into this arena of adjudicating what will come here and what will go to the Senate. It was wrong. And I'm happy that the Supreme Court now has set the record straight. Good practice, neatness, cordiality requires that the two houses should never have to sue each other. They should never have to take each other to court. Because these are adults. This is the highest body of lawmaking in the country. Not just highest body. It's in my opinion, the most powerful arm of government. Because they can impeach a president. We just impeached a deputy. They cannot be showing bad manners or going to court against each other, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I agree with the Supreme Court on what they have just decided on. Mr. Speaker, I believe also that there was a misunderstanding, in my opinion, when we started implementing devolution. Where some people gave themselves the job of, in quotes, protecting devolution. Some people gave themselves a job of, in quotes, protecting counties. Mr. Speaker, if you look at how much money counties spend on legal fees, how much money the Council of Governors spend on legal fees, how much this Parliament has spent on legal fees, as in too much smoke, no heat, causing confusion, putting us in a situation where people think that we are fighting, and there's nothing to fight about, Mr. Speaker. So, as you go forward, Mr. Speaker, I want to request the Senate that today, as we speak, there's no county in this country 13 years later that has running water in every home. There's no county where there's running water in every home. There's no county in this country today where you'll go to a dispensary and you find that there's uniform service in every dispensary. There's none. There's no country today in this country where agriculture is run well. On the contrary, Mr. Speaker, we have allowed the county government to replicate the structure of national government, where there are people they call ministers, there are those they call PSS, there are those they call directors, and then they come here crying that they have no money to spend. Why would a county government have structures like the one in national government? There is so much the Senate could make laws on. So much. The Speaker, when I hear Senate talk about our military, talk about our foreign relations, and there's so much that is not working in the counties. What the Honorable Senator had just said. You already have so much power, you're not using. And you want to amass more. Mr. Speaker, it is not their province, and I'm happy with what has just been said this afternoon, Mr. Speaker. Devolution was meant to help people make decisions at the grassroots. I'm certain that out of the 47 governors, 3/4 of them live in Nairobi. You will meet them in Nairobi almost every week. Every week you meet them in Nairobi. Either someone by the Senate or just here, mangamang around Nairobi? Mr. Speaker, in fact, I believe that this assembly must descend into that arena. We cannot close our eyes anymore, Mr. Speaker, and leave it to the Senate. It is this assembly that must now discipline how counties work. In fact, I want to request my minority leader and majority leader that those things that the Senate has been doing to us taking powers of the National Assembly, you must start doing going forward. Go and do work of the counties. Make sure that the Senate is doing its work, and if they're not doing their job, we'll start summoning governors. Let the governors come to our committee, JLAC, answer questions on legal affairs. If they cannot answer questions on how they use their monies, let PSC summon them. Because the Senate has refused to do its work. So, Mr. Speaker, the Supreme Court has done something that's very commendable. And we hope that this ends this cat and mouse drama. We hope that this ends these cat fights. Because, Mr. Speaker, as you may be aware, last month, we've just finished the process of unbundling the functions. How I wish the Senate was pushing today for costing of those functions and ensuring that money is going down following those functions. Mr. Speaker, we have a commission of 7 commissioners called CRA, whose only job is to work on a formula of distributing money between national government and county governments. It's only job, and they are full-time commissioners. And the Senate is just watching. Mr. Speaker, the work of entrenching devolution in this country requires forethought, requires deep understanding of the work that is needed, requires sitting back and saying, I'm now a senator. What can I do to ensure that the county governments work well? Oh no. When teachers are being employed, senators want to get involved. When they're doing housing policy, they want to get involved. When they're sending police to Haiti, they want to get involved. There is so much to be done in the counties. Sports is almost dead. Our industries will be mounted, and this country will grow on the back of industrial development in the counties. Mr. Speaker, I want to request the Senate and my friend senators, you will do well in having a model law on health for the counties to follow. You will do well in having a model law on agriculture for the counties to follow. You will do well in having a proper sports law for the counties to emulate so that they are able to develop sports and work well with sports. You'll do well in having a proper law to guide ECD and early childhood learning. Mr. Speaker, they will do well in ensuring that the county governments they have today are planning well their counties. Mr. Speaker, the county governments require guidance. And whose role on who is the grandfather to ensure that this guidance is given is the Senate. I will request the Senate to reread the Constitution and get to know what are their functions. Can they, for a single moment, work on their functions so that the county governments are able to work well? Mr. Speaker, as I yield the floor, and request again the 2 speakers of our houses, but please, don't get distracted on the journey you've started of ensuring that you're not going to court again. Don't get distracted. On cordiality. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I want to request also the management of Parliament that please, let's not spend any more cent, any more time in supporting any court cases between and among these houses of Parliament. I yield. Thank you.
MP for Kajiado Central.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And Honorable Speaker, before I delve on the matter of the Supreme Court, Honorable Speaker, allow me to pass my condolences to the passing of...
Are you on a point of order, the Honorable Atandi? Ordinarily, I'm used to you sitting on this side of the aisle, but now I can see you. Proceed, Honorable Attorney. And
Honorable Speaker,
what's your point of order?
Honorable Speaker, I stand on a rise on standing order number 95.
Yes.
To say that I've read the mood of the House and seen that members are in agreement that we reject all the amendments from the Senate.
Yes.
Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I would like to suggest that we call the mover to reply.
Yes.
Thank you.
Honorable Speaker.
Order, honorable members, order. The honorable member of parliament. Is it Mugirango West? Yes, Mugirango West. Okay, fair enough. The honorable attendee, the chair has a responsibility to protect the minority in the House. I know the standing order. I also know another standing order that says allow people to say what they want. Honorable, proceed, Honorable Memusi. I'll give one or two more people and the members of parliament and then.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. As I was saying, allow me first of all to give my condolences to the family of the late Honorable Teya, who was the immediate outgoing women rep for Kajiado County. Honorable Speaker.
Honorable, listen to Honorable Memusi. He is giving condolences on an old colleague who has since passed on.
Thank you.
You should be quiet and listen.
Thank you,
Proceed.
Honorable Speaker. And colleagues should really have some respect for their own. Honorable Speaker, allow me to give condolences to the family of the late Honorable Teya, who was the immediate outgoing women rep for Kajiado County. Honorable Speaker, I know a lot has been said about Honorable Teya. We served with her in the 11th Parliament and the 12th Parliament, and she was an exceptional lady who scaled up despite all odds, despite being able differently. She became a leader and an outstanding one. Today, Kajiado County mourns a lady who was exceptional because she was not deterred by her disability. Honorable Speaker, Teya, despite Kajiado County being extremely vast, she tried to traverse the entire county. She went to rural places. I remember one meeting that really touched the hearts of women in my constituency, that she showed up despite the fact that it had rained heavily, and even some people who did not have any challenges, physical challenges, would not dare use the bad roads to reach the venue. But she made an effort and she got there. She was an exceptional lady, and I pass my condolences to her and her family, especially her children. Having said that, Honorable Speaker, allow me to also contribute my voice to the ruling of the Supreme Court. And Honorable Speaker, let me start by saying that the judiciary, through the Supreme Court, have done a great thing for this country.
Honorable Memusi, the matter before the House is not the ruling of the Supreme Court. The matter before the House is a Senate bill. So you either oppose that bill or you support it.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
But you can use the Supreme Court what they call ruling in collaboration.
Yes, in collaboration. Thank you, Speaker, for the guidance. Honorable Speaker, the work of the judiciary is interpretation of the laws. And through the Supreme Court, the judiciary has interpreted an area that we willingly allowed it to become a gray area, because in the Constitution, it was very clear the functions of the two houses. Very clear. Honorable Speaker, the drafters of our Constitution envisaged a great country when they came up with devolution. And when they came up with devolution, they looked for a way of a house that will oversight counties. The main reason for Kenyans' agitation for devolution was for services, was for resources to go down to them. It was for the people to be able to rule themselves. It was for the people to be able to make decisions directly that affect them. Honorable Speaker, the Senate was supposed to make devolution work. The Senate was supposed to make Kenyans feel the importance of devolution. But unfortunately, the Senate has failed in its role. Honorable Speaker, the mess in counties, every county in this republic, you find very junior officers, so-called revenue officers, moving around collecting money from poor Kenyans. Not for that money to go to the coffers, the taxpayers' kitty, but for that money to go into people's pockets. You would find revenue officers moving around markets, taking 50 shillings, 100 shillings from very poor women who are struggling. You would find very junior officers taking money from sand harvesters, and very odd businesses that Kenyans are trying to make ends meet. All this money is going to wastage, and senators are busy running around, crisscrossing on the functions of the national government. You find the Senate summoning the CS Defense. What business does Senate have with the defense of this country? What business? Honorable Speaker, that ruling, despite the Constitution having been very clear on the mandate of the two houses, but that ruling puts the Senate in its place. So with those few, Honorable Speaker, I submit. Thank you.
The Honorable Sunkuya, and then followed by the Honorable Member of Parliament from Mugirango West.
Thank you, the Honorable Speaker. And before I contribute to the ruling, Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to convey my gratitude. Condolences to the family of Honorable Janet.
Here, the Honorable MP for Kajiado West in silence.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to convey my condolences to the family of the late Honorable Janet Eya, who was the women rep for Kajiado County 2017 to 2022, and nominated member of Parliament 2013 to 2017. And despite her how she was, but she was able to stand to lead the people of Kajiado, to beat a number of leaders who compete with 2017. She's a person who actually came from the interior, and he has done a lot to the people of Kajiado. He has passionate. She's a leader who actually demonstrated to his people. Mr. Speaker, so I want to say apology to the people of Kajiado and the family. Before entering and contributing to the bill, what the Senate is doing, the honorable members who are loitering around Parliament, who are not understanding their function, who are not understanding their role, their oversight, coming around Parliament, and instead of taking oversight to their counties, going to their counties and taking a lot of money, collaborating with the governors, without even offering even a project. Mr. Speaker, actually, even the Constitution, if it happened for us again to go for the to call for, actually, we need to change this constitution later and do away with the Senate. And do away with the Senate. So I submit. And we are tired of these men, really tired. And the country is also tired of. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Mogaka, followed by the Honorable Waluke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to also oppose this bill. And before I do so, may I join my fellow residents of Kajiado in mourning Honorable Janet. I live in Kajiado, where she once represented us, and I pray that the Almighty God does rest her soul in eternal peace. And coming back to this Senate bill, as a member of JLAC, Mr. Speaker, I had an experience engaging with the JLAC committee of the Senate, where as parliamentarians, we sought to have joint sittings and engage, and we are reaching legal minds in both JLAC so that we come up with a piece of legislation that was to be progressive as the 2010 Constitution. Shock on me, the Senate JLAC stayed away, and we soldiered on and presented a masterpiece of a legislation, which upon presentation to them, they prescribed what we have today, which, to say the least, is ignominious. I propose that my colleagues join JLAC in rejecting those amendments in total because they don't deserve to see the light of day. And in doing so, it is clear that Senate is trying to carve its way to waters that the Constitution of Kenya 2010 does not permit them to navigate into. And money matters are matters of the National Assembly and must be so protected. And I also want to hail the determination by the Supreme Court of Kenya, the apex court, for pronouncing itself and stating the obvious. Because the Constitution of Kenya has outlined functions for the two legislative houses. And the bill that was to deal with the behavior and engagement of Parliament was merely going a step further, as lawyers say, so that we have no avoidance of doubt that there is no conflict in the functions of the National Assembly and that of Senate. And I want to share with you, Mr. Speaker, I have never had an occasion again to share with any committee of Senate. I just tried to attend a Senate committee sitting this afternoon that had invited my county, Nyamira County. And believe you me, Senate is presiding over the strangulation of Nyamira County. And that is their core business. When you hear that there is a county in this Kenya with 2 county assemblies, when you hear that there is a county in this country with 2 speakers, when you hear that there is a county in this country, clear illegalities, and Senate is sitting there struggling to be given legislative authority over money matters, it is a shame. And this Senate, I want to agree with my brother from Kajiado West, that this Senate is not the kind of Senate that our Constitution contemplated. We contemplated a Senate that would be hands-on to have our health facilities function. We contemplated a Senate that would ensure that early childhood education is provided with infrastructure, is provided with teachers permanently paid and pensionable. We foresaw a Senate that would functionalize our agriculture sector so that we are food secure and become an exporting country. We contemplated a Senate that would stick to its lane, that would remunerate people who work for them. But we have a Senate where it is pilferage from January to January. It is pilferage every other day. Mr. Speaker, I am so disturbed that the Senate had the audacity to recommend that this motion be brought before us, that this bill be brought before us. Let us put it where it belongs. Let us assert our legislative authority. Let us keep the Senate to their turf. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I yield after vehemently opposing and calling out the management and dysfunctioning in Nyamira County to quickly come to an end, because I host the county. They are in my constituency. The theft is going on in my constituency. Let there be rule of law. I cannot stay in a constituency that has no lights when the county is collecting revenue but not paying bills to Kenya Power and Lighting. This shame must be brought to an end. And Governor Nyamira and other governors, please wake up. Senator Nyamira County and other senators, please functionalize our counties. We meant well for devolution. You have brought a shame to this republic. Keep off legislation on money matters. I yield. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Waluke.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me a chance also to contribute on this.
What's your point of order, Honorable Atandi?
Honorable Speaker, I come back to you again, understanding order number 95, to plead that this matter has been extensively discussed, and we are in agreement that this amendment should be rejected. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I would like to request that the mover be asked to reply.
Fair enough. Under the circumstances, since there's a lot of persistence, and the chair is supposed to look at both sides, and now put the question that the mover be called upon to reply. How many of as many of the opinion say aye? Aye. As many of contrary opinion say nay? I'll put the question again. Order, honorable members, and I'll put the question that the mover be called upon to reply. As many of the opinion say aye? Aye. As many of contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it. Honorable, the mover, please proceed and reply.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, sometimes our proceedings at times can be very interesting, like it is today. I wish to sincerely thank all the members. As the Honorable Atandi has just said, the chairman of our budget committee, that we have flogged the horse too much, and that we are all in agreement that indeed the amendments proposed by the Senate ought to be rejected. And so, Mr. Speaker, as you know, there are very many people in this country who love to swim in the sea of uncertainty, chaos, and confusion. Mr. Speaker, the Supreme Court has put brakes to this. As you know, the Constitution provides that there must be clarity in everything. And the Supreme Court, as members have contributed, has indeed clarified what is the position with regard to a number of those issues and has put them to rest. And with those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the members for supporting the rejection of this motion. And Mr. Speaker, I want to bring to the attention of members that when you call for the putting of the question, we are not going to say yes in this one. We are going to say no, so that we can reject the amendments from the Senate. And so with those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to reply.
Honorable members, I now put the question. Yes, honorable members. Yes, honorable members, I now put the question that the Senate amendments to the Houses of Parliament Bicameral Relations Bill, National Assembly Bill number 44 of 2023 be now considered. As many of the opinion say aye. As many of the contrary opinion say nay. Nay. The nays have it. Next order. Honourable members, I have a small communication to make in view of the fact that this order number 12 has been rejected. Ipso facto, order number 13, Roman 2, is also not there. It's voided completely. Now, next order.
Order number 13, Committee of the Whole House.
Okay.
As we may resume our seats, and this is the Committee of the Whole House on the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2025. Remember, this is a short bill of a couple of clauses. I would just beg for your attention. As you would know from the order paper, there's no amendment to this bill. And recognize the fact that this is the Honorable Chairperson's first Division of Revenue Bill. We'll give him all the support and indulgence as required to make this run smoothly. I recognize the Vice Chair, the Honorable Kosi Ofendebes, is also in the House.
Clause 3, 4, and 5.
Honourable members, I propose the question that clauses 3, 4, and 5 be part of the bill. And therefore now put the question that clauses 3, 4, and 5 be part of the bill. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
Schedule.
Members, I propose that the schedule to the bill be the schedule of the bill. I put the question that the schedule be the schedule of the bill. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Well, as many of the opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
Members, I propose the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. There being no amendment, I put the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Well, as many of the opinion say nay. Ayes have it.
Title.
Members, I propose the question that the title be the title of the bill. I put the question that the title be the title of the bill. Will as many of the opinion say aye? And as many of the opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 1.
Honourable members, I propose the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. There being no amendment, I put the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Well, as many of the opinion say nay? Ayes have it. Members, I now call upon the move of this bill, the chairperson of the Budget Committee, to move for reporting.
Honourable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Division of Revenue Bill National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2025 and its approval thereof without amendments.
Honourable members, I put the question, therefore, that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2025, and its approval thereof without amendments. As many of the opinion say aye, as many of the opinion say nay. The ayes have it. I now call upon the chairperson to report to the House.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 10 of 2025, and approved the same without amendments.
Thank you. Mover, Honorable Tandi.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. I also request Honorable Dr. Pukose to second the motion for agreement with the report of the Committee of the House.
Honorable Pukose.
Honorable Speaker, I second.
Members, I therefore propose the question, which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. Members, for obvious reasons,